on Friday, as expected, a lot of them took in a lot of Bitcoin. BlackRock, again, continues to only have inflows, never outflows, but others had good days too. Like Fidelity has 61 million, and then ARK and Bitwise had 12 and 13 million. Grayscale continues to dump. At this point, that's no surprise. They will, I mean, I think the plan is to dump to zero. I think that's ultimately the plan. And I don't know why. And they have this new ETF. So they have GBTC and they have a new one just called BTC. And you can see that one's just not inflowing much at all. No one wants to buy Grayscale ETFs. I think everyone's scared by the fact that it's just not a good company anymore. That's just simply it. I mean, they've offloaded 20-something billion dollars worth of Bitcoin, and all of it went straight to BlackRock, and they're still dumping more. So, anyways, outside of Grayscale, though, we still have overall net positive on Friday. And BlackRock, like I said, continues to inflow, and it's not just them. There are a lot of banks that are holding BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, like Goldman. I've mentioned that many times. 400 million out of nowhere, and other other banks are doing the same thing. They're loading up on ETFs, and they're advising their wealth clients to load up, right? So obviously, a lot of institutions and wealthy individuals and funds and sovereign funds and companies are all loading up. Australia's Bitcoin ETF continues to load up too, very slowly though, going up by 1 Bitcoin per day, almost like El Salvador, right? Adding DC at 1 Bitcoin per day. I mean, they're doing the same thing. It's still, $10 million worth, right? It's small, especially compared to Wall Street, but hey, it all adds up. Hong Kong has theirs, Australia has theirs, Canada's ETFs are huge. No one's paying attention to them. And other countries are getting ETFs as well, right? So slowly it's adding up. As for this cycle, right, we know that, hey, short term, there's volatility, right? This week, we have Jackson Hole to worry about. We have the Fed minutes to worry about, right? Maybe, we got the yen to worry about. We got a lot of things to worry about. But what we don't have to worry about is how Bitcoin moves basically the same way every single cycle. Okay. Now, there's one deviation from this cycle versus previous cycles. We have never, ever, ever broken through the previous high prior to an halving event. So if you're looking at this and you're looking at the first 100 days, you're like, George, this cycle looks different because the first 100 days, we didn't go up. We didn't start rising, right? The reason being, we were already ahead of the game. 100 days in the last 3 cycles did not even break through previous highs. It took about 200 days, 250 days to break through. We broke through months before the halving event, right? So we've been going sideways. That's why it shows with the last 100 days, we've been just kind of going sideways and trending down a little bit. That's because we're way, way, way ahead compared to previous cycles. However, if you look at the average days to all-time high is about 445 days. And you guys remember what happened in 2021 when we shot up from the low of $3,800 to $69,000. And the cycle before that, we shot up from $1,000 to $20,000, right? They happen. And this cycle, it's going to be the same thing. Our low of this cycle is 15,000. So where are we going to end up? Maybe next cycle, I'll be talking about, remember Bitcoin in the 2025 cycle, we went from $15,000 to $250,000. That would not be outrageous. That would actually make a whole lot of sense if you look at all the previous movements we had before, right? So you got to stay strong. You got to ignore the FUD, like I've been saying. There will be volatility. I mean, just look at these charts. There's a lot of up and downs. It's not just a forever upwards parabolic rise, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and you certainly don't want to miss out on it. And here's another reason why you want to hold strong, because the global money supply is about to increase. We've been stuck at the same money supply globally for a long, long time, 100 trillion, give or take, all right, since 2021. But now you see it's starting to tick up. And look at the times before when the money supply started ticking up globally. Bitcoin, they correlated to Bitcoin's biggest rises, right? So here's another reason why. When the money starts flowing, that's when assets like Bitcoin and crypto start going upwards. So it's all aligning, if you think about it. It's all aligning to just next month or a month after that. If you're looking at the halving event, that's usually when things start moving around the October timeframe, September-October timeframe. You're looking at the rate cut that's coming. That's going to be September. You're looking at a global money supply starting to go up, right? And you got a presidential election that's coming up in a couple months too. And you got rate cuts all over the place too, not just in the U.S. I mean, it's all aligning, okay? This is a perfect storm right now. We may be going sideways right now, or we might be in a stale period, but that's quite okay because the parabolic phase is coming. Yeah, here's a chart that shows the parabolic phase coming. Inverse head and shoulders. No, this is short term. This will push us back to 70K. And then, of course, what's going to happen after 70K? Well, after 70K, that's anyone's guess. 80, 90, 100,000 next stop by the end of this year? I think so. I think we're going to be 6 digits by the end of this year. I really believe that. With 4 months left, we know Bitcoin within a single month can go up 20, 30,000. I think we will be in 6 figures by the end of this year. And then we keep on building from there all the way up to $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 by the end of 2025.